In shape, 145.
Yeah.
In shape. You know what I mean? So this is different from a Crawford coming up to 168, but we know his walk around weight is probably 170, 180.
Tank Davis, only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility.
Terence Crawford reportedly visited Gervonta Davis ahead of his upcoming fight with Jake Paul, offering valuable training tips and strategic insights. The two champions exchanged techniques and discussed fight strategies, displaying strong mutual respect. Crawford expressed full support for Davis, praising his remarkable talent and relentless work ethic. He even hinted that if Davis ever wanted to face him in the ring, he would welcome the challenge, not out of rivalry, but out of respect for the sport of boxing itself.
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes, and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Ooh.
Wow. Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147.
Oh,
I'll make 147 for you.
Ooh, see, oh man.
You're gonna have a pre-camp.
Then what the people gonna say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
I don't know.
Gervonta Davis appears to be taking inspiration from Terence Crawford, one of boxing's most technically gifted fighters. Crawford's preparation for Canelo Alvarez drew attention for his seamless stance switches, balance control, and unpredictable rhythm. Now, Davis seems to be adopting a similar approach. Recent training footage shows him refining his footwork, shifting angles, and even switching stances mid-combination, something rarely seen from him before. Analysts believe he's not only learning from Crawford, but also drawing influence from Jaron "Boots" Ennis, who excels at fighting effectively from both stances. This evolution hints at Davis's strategy to shock everyone in his upcoming clash with Jake Paul.
Right. This is scary. Gervonta Tank Davis is working on his versatility. We already know he has that ultimate equalizer, that special God-gifted one-punch knockout power. But he also can box. Gervonta Tank Davis, he's very durable, has a chin, never seen him visibly hurt. Gervonta Tank Davis also has great footwork and foot placement. And here you see Gervonta Tank Davis, only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility. He's now working on fighting orthodox. He's naturally a southpaw. Now he's working on fighting orthodox. Great switch hitters, no Diddy, in the sport of
Showbiz the Adult, a well-known boxing commentator, emphasized that the fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul must deliver real excitement. He noted that many fans expect it to resemble a light sparring session, with both fighters taking it easy to avoid embarrassment, but warned that such an approach would be disastrous. According to him, a dull fight would instantly damage both fighters' reputations, causing fans to lose interest and refuse to watch them again. With massive audiences on both sides demanding action, this matchup must showcase genuine intensity. If it turns into a cautious exhibition, all the hype surrounding it will disappear.
It can be career-ending. Jake Paul can end his whole shit. That's the black. Tank can end Jake Paul's whole shit. And if that fight is meh, and it's just a sparring session that's tit for tat, their shit's over. Because people gonna be pissed that it's exactly what they expected it to be. They can't do that. If they do, their career's ruined. Jake Paul career's ruined, and Tank. If they make it meh and just touch, both their brands suck. That's the black two sugars. You mess around in that bell ring and you see little Tank and you see big Jake, and he's throwing a jab, and little Tank making a miss, and bam, and y'all gonna be like, whoa, say I'm lying. Y'all, you know what? Yes, say I'm lying. Please say I'm lying. But y'all gonna be right there, cheering, because you ain't never seen nothing that damn bizarre. Even De La Hoya versus Shaq had headgear, and Shaq ain't a boxer. That right there, fireworks. Because you're gonna be holding your breath, especially Tank fans. I'm gonna be like, don't hit Tank. You're gonna see Tank little ass legs. He's gonna come, and big ass Jake big legs and big ass head. Watch. Y'all talk all that shit now because y'all love talking shit. Y'all love hating on things until you see it. Like women back in the 90s. I remember my sisters back in the 90s. You ain't that cute. You ain't, but all on your shit. That's what y'all do. Y'all talk shit, but y'all the first ones there.
Keith Thurman highlighted an undeniable truth about Gervonta Davis and his critics. He pointed out that the same people who constantly bash Tank are the ones who never miss his fights. They claim his performances fall short, yet continue tuning in every time he steps into the ring. Thurman believes this behavior proves that even his detractors fuel his success. Their constant attention, whether positive or negative, only amplifies Davis's fame. Every time they label his fights disappointing, they unknowingly keep his name in the spotlight and strengthen his position as one of boxing's most talked about stars.
If you're really not happy with Tank, first off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul's show there, you know, because that's all for entertainment. What's it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It's just say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. You know, fine.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, you know. So you know, it's money-making purposes only. You know, it is what it is.
The matchup between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul breaks away from the traditions of professional boxing. As many analysts have noted, fights like this exist somewhere between sport and spectacle rather than true competition. What makes this particular bout so unusual is that both men are still in their primes. Exhibition matches typically involve fighters past their peak, like Floyd Mayweather's recent showcases. But in this case, both Davis and Paul remain active, capable, and ambitious in their careers. That's what makes the event so peculiar. It blurs the line between a legitimate boxing contest and a viral entertainment stunt.
It's like this, with fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight? And those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser. Because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see unless he has everything his.
Another major concern surrounding this fight is the huge weight difference between the two fighters. Jake Paul typically walks around at near cruiserweight levels, while Gervonta "Tank" Davis competes between the lightweight and super lightweight divisions, a gap of roughly 60 to 70 pounds. That's exactly the kind of mismatch boxing's weight classes were designed to prevent. These divisions exist to protect fighters from dangerous power imbalances and unnecessary harm. If matchups like this become normalized, it undermines the entire system of fairness in the sport. Even if labeled an exhibition, the physical disparity makes this fight potentially risky and fundamentally unfair.
Assuming there's no rehydration clause, which I don't believe there is, he'll probably weigh around 215 pounds in the ring. That means there's a sort of a 60 to 70 pound difference between the two men in the ring on fight night, which is absolutely enormous. There are weight classes for a reason in boxing, and this is the sort of thing that is typically not allowed or permitted. And like I said in my intro, it goes to the heart of that key question in boxing, which is how big is too big? It's the reason that the pound for pound list exists, where we kind of imagine if everybody was the same size, who's the best, who's number one? And it's a debate that rages on and on and on. And so when I see a fight like this, I think the hardcore boxing fans, generally speaking, have felt frustrated by it. Yes, because we want Gervonta Davis as part of the actual sport, competing for world titles against the other elite guys in his weight class. But also because if he gets knocked out and loses to Jake Paul, it creates this illusion that Jake Paul's much better than he actually is. And so I guess the question for me is, can Gervonta Davis beat Jake Paul, or will Jake Paul simply be too massive? Can Jake Paul use his size, or will Gervonta Davis simply be too skilled? What's the answer here? And in trying to answer this, I looked to history, and there's one fight that immediately popped out of my mind, and I thought, I wonder what the size difference was there. In fact, it may even be more significant. And it was, and the small guy won. Some of you might be thinking about it right now. It's when David Haye took on the monster, the absolutely ginormous human being, Nikolai Valuev. I think it took place around 2009. So at the time, I was literally a teenager. I didn't have a clue what I was looking at, and I'd fully bought into this David versus Goliath story. But I think it's an excellent example here to draw comparisons between the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight to try and understand whether or not this is a good template and blueprint to try and predict and understand what the size difference might look like in the ring. Now, David Haye was 6'3" and was 217 pounds for the Valuev fight, whereas Valuev was 7 foot tall and weighed 316 pounds.
Promoter Eddie Hearn offered one of the most pointed takes on the upcoming matchup, stating, "Boxing and entertainment are two completely different things, and when you mix them, the sport loses its identity." According to Hearn, the fight between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Jake Paul isn't about genuine competition, but rather a business spectacle built for attention and profit, not legacy or titles. He warned that this kind of crossover is dangerous because once fans begin accepting such events as normal, it risks eroding the credibility of the entire sport. Coming from someone who's witnessed firsthand how quickly entertainment boxing can overshadow real championship bouts, Hearn's warning carries serious weight.
Said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show, it's entertainment, it's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, you know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round? I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, breakdowns, and behind-the-scenes coverage from the world of boxing. Until next time, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.